Namaskara and a hearty welcome to Ramayana Universal Compass. The 47th chapter we dive into today has nothing but nostalgia and melancholy of the citizens of Ayodhya who had run behind Rama's chariot and slept with him on the Tamasa banks only to see that Rama, Seetha and Lakshmana had vanished into the untracked wild. In that sudden desolation, they echo Shelley's cry to the wild west wind, feeling themselves like withered leaves driven by an invisible, ruthless doom. Down with that sleep, that traitorous slumber that stole our senses and locked our eyes while he slipped away. How has that truthful, broad-shouldered Rama abandoned his most devoted? Did we lay our hearts at his feet only to be cast into this pit of absolute night? They scatter through the thickets like hunted animals. They peer behind every shrub, climb the gnarled trunks of the forest trees, and search the high branches where only birds dare dwell. But the woods yield nothing save the echo of their own lamentation, and in that unbearable certainty, their grief turns to a tragic defiance. They cry out to the silent trees, to the indifferent earth, to the heavens themselves, stepping into the haunting realm of John Keats, where beauty and sorrow are inextricably wed, half in love with easeful death. They blabber, they murmur, they groan, crying out like cows, torn forever from their mother's udders. Suddenly, an elder among them catches a glint of hopes in the dust the chariot tracks. Scrambling forward with the desperate energy of the drowning, they trace the deep impressions left by Rama's wheels upon the river bank. For a brief span, they follow the trail, but the tracks lead to the edge of the stony bank and simply cease. The earth gives up, no further sign. The path is closed. Providence has drawn an iron wall across their way. Here they wander like Coleridge's ancient manner, cursed on a wide sea, realizing that they are caught in a vast cosmic design where human striving shatters against the divine. With swollen eyes, bleeding hearts, and heads bowed to the dust, the throng turns its face toward Ayodhya. But what is Ayodhya now? In this deep, agonizing separation, this Viraha, they share the very soul of this exiled Yaksha from Kalidasa's Meghaduta, just as Kalidasa's lonely protagonist on the peak of Ramagiri projects his unrequited longing onto passing clouds, transforming moisture and wind into messengers of a heart-wrenching ache. The citizens of Ayodhya find that they were an empty street. Every silent courtyard and every shadow of the capital now speaks only of the prince who has left them behind. Why did Rama permit this? Why did divine sleep shackle the citizens while they departed under the cover of night? This was no accidental parting. It was a deliberate, compassionate strategy. The agony of the wild, the citizens accustomed to the comfort and safety of the capital would have been subjected to unimaginable suffering, starvation, and exposure alongside him. It would have thrown Ayodhya into chaos, abandoning their families, relatives, and civic duties, and fundamentally disrupting the fragile political and social order that is the Loka Sangraham left behind the capital. Herein lies the profound paradox of Viraha Bhakti, devotion forged in the furnace of separation. Their grief at a separation is intense, yet it refines their devotion. Just as poetry is born from the deepest wounds of human longing, the citizen's suffering becomes a sacred crucible. It strips away worldly attachment and awakens the realization of the eternal presence within. The wheel marks vanish not to mock them, but to teach them. True sight begins only when the physical form recedes. Their tears are no longer merely sorrow, they are the holy water of a love that transcends space, time, and sight, echoing down the corridors of universal literature, where the ache of parting is forever transformed into the birth of immortal art. Thanking you for joining us. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.